Growing up can be a little bit scary and weird. Eighth Grade is directed by Burnham and is starring Elsie Fisher and Josh Hamilton. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This film centers around the character of Kayla. She is in her last week of 8th grade, and this film depicts all the trials and tribulations that she has to go through in making her transition from 8th grade into high school. This is the directorial debut of stand-up comedian Burnham, and I have to say this is one of my personal favorite films of the year, and probably one of the best films I have seen this year as well. Why I love this film so much is that it is operating on so many levels. This is a film that is depicting a young girl going through a transition, a change in her life that many young people go through, particularly at the age of 13, and this film concentrates particularly on the last week of 8th grade, and it concentrates on this young girl in Kayla who is somewhat of an introvert. She is someone who is not very sociable but wants to be. She's not very confident in herself in being able to do those things, but she wants to be. This is a film that also depicts social media and YouTube in a very interesting way. It depicts social media in the sense of how connected the youth are to it now, much more so than when I was growing up. I was in 8th grade in the academic year of 2001 to 2002, so that was well before the whole social media craze that is so much a part of everyone's lives now, especially young people. And also it depicts YouTube in the sense that she uses YouTube as an avenue in order to instruct people on how to be more social and how to change and certain things like that, while she is trying to make those changes and make those improvements in her life herself. And the way the film integrates it within the story, I thought is very unique. They use narration over certain scenes where she's trying to do what she is saying in her YouTube videos. And it's a fascinating look into how YouTube can work on a more personal level. This film is dealing with someone just arriving into their teenage years and all of the feelings and emotions and the things that they have to go through, particularly things like anxiety, nervousness, awkward social interactions, cringeworthy social interactions, and kind of just overall existential dread and existential journey that you have to go through at that time. I know I had to do it. I'm sure many of you had to do it as well. And what is most interesting about all of those elements is that you begin to recognize that they are not just something that is pertinent only to 13-year-olds, that adults can also feel those feelings as well and go through all those emotions, and those emotions are very much universal. They're universal in the sense that I think every generation has to go through them. Whether you grew up in the pre-internet age or you grew up during the internet age with social media or without social media, it doesn't matter. All of those things are all a part of growing up. And the film portrays all of those things in a very real and authentic way, and a lot of it has to do with our main character of Kayla, portrayed by Elsie Fisher. Elsie Fisher in this film is astonishing. She is a marvel. She is just absolutely incredible in portraying all of those things. She is acting on so many different levels, and it's just fascinating to watch this actress come from relative obscurity and to give such a nuanced performance. Her performance is both subtle as well as overt. And also her father, who's portrayed by Josh Hamilton, is also really good in this film as well. The interaction and the chemistry between the two is very real. Their relationship is very much at the center of this film. It gives this film its heart. It gives this film its sweetness, and it gives this film its drive. And another thing that I really like about this film is that it doesn't sugarcoat a lot of the things that young teenagers are into. Young teenagers today are much more mature now than the way they were several generations ago. They are into a lot more adult things at a much more earlier age, and this film does not shy away from that. This film very much delves into it, and also delves into the awkwardness of all of those things, especially being exposed to them at such a young age and the effect that that has on someone. As much as I love this film, there are a few little negative things I have with it. One is that the father character, while I do really like him a lot, and the film is very much reliant on the father-daughter, parent-child relationship, he is almost too perfect of a character, too perfect of a parent, where it takes a little bit away of that authenticity, because you know that things aren't always this easy or this good in real life. Also, another thing is that this film does hit a lot of the genre tropes that we've seen in a lot of teenage coming-of-age films in the past, but it does so in such a unique and real way that you very much forgive it for doing all of those things, and you also appreciate the way it tackles a lot of those tropes as well. So with all of that being said, I'm going to give this film a 4.6 out of 5 stars. Bo Burnham directs a great film, pouring a lot of his personal self into this film. Also, Elsie Fisher gives a fantastic performance. This film is touching on great universal themes that I think a lot of teenagers need to be aware of, and I would highly recommend a lot of teenagers go see this film. It is rated R, so they're probably going to have to be accompanied by an adult, but I think it is important for them to see this film. That has been my review of 8th grade. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.